To the student elected by you, who will give the valedictorian speech, Leonardo, Canepa, please.
All right. Thank you, Melanie and Offer, for making my life a bit harder, now that I have to follow you guys. All right. Let's see if it works. I was sitting at home one day thinking, what on earth am I going to talk about in the graduation speech? I mean, honestly, in my mind, the same graduates that elected me here and gave me the honor to speak, I thought they probably had more interesting things to say than I did. So I figured, what better way of finding what I should tell them than by actually listening to what they have to say? So I put my ears out there, and luckily for me, the closer we got to graduation, the more the people wanted to talk about their lives at INSEAD. Little did I know that the students had so many different experiences that I wasn't able to pinpoint one common topic. And I felt I was going back to square one. But actually, when I took a step back, I did find a common thread in that collage of perspectives. And it wasn't in what the people were saying, but rather how they were saying it. The high level of emotions just shouted through their eyes while they were talking. So I thought, hey, that's a great place to kick things off. And it suddenly took me back to where it all started. When many of us here today, we're faced with one of the strongest emotions in our lives. When we received a phone call or an email that started with something like this. On behalf of the admissions committee, it is my great pleasure to offer you a place in the INSEAD MBA class of December 2015. Yes. I mean, that moment of joy is one that we will cherish forever. The sheer excitement of being invited to one of the best communities in the world was enough to send this invigorating ecstasy running up our veins. And once we took the decision of going to INSEAD, then came this rush of suspense. The fascination of thinking of what was to come was an addiction we harvested during the months leading to our lives at INSEAD. How are the people going to be? Will I fit in? Will I be able to accomplish all my goals? And that apprehension followed us until the very first day of class. And on that first day, we had a breakthrough. We now had the certainty that our visions of life and society would never be the same when we saw people from 64 different nationalities working together. That in other situations could be considered a boiling pot. In this case, it was the start of an amazing journey. And so the ride began. In the classroom, we would see doctors doing cash flow analyses and engineers doing marketing pitches. We'd also see debates on subjects that were, let's just say they sparked things up. Imagine seeing people from developed, developing, and underdeveloped countries discussing topics like ethics, politics, or philosophy. That can really get things going early in the morning. And while we were excelling academically, we had this whole greater world outside of the classroom. We had the privilege of listening to today's world leaders talk about their ideals, paths, and visions. We had the intimidating freedom of being able to meet any of the top companies of the world and rally between presentations, coffee chats, and interviews to not only try to secure our next steps after INSEAD, but also to understand what we wanted our next steps to be. We also had the privilege of sharing a car ride or flight with newfound friends to several immaculate destinations reached throughout the year. Friends that today are INSEAD graduates, and tomorrow will be the leaders of the world. A couple of weeks ago, I went for a jog around INSEAD. And while I was doing my introspective exercise, reflecting a bit upon the past year, I realized one thing. I did not want that moment to end. I felt this instinctive urge to place all my efforts into prolonging that moment, extending that feeling as long as possible. And then I remembered one thing I learned from a great mind a few years back. Dear friends, that feeling I had was the pure embodiment of happiness. And I feel comfortable in speaking not only for myself, but also for my fellow graduates. This year was filled with moments we did not want to end, moments we wanted to remain in, moments of genuine happiness. And that, to me, is the greatest gift of this experience. Now, this ride wasn't made only of sunny days. The challenges we faced in trying to adapt to a new environment or keeping up with the pace really paid a toll. But these vulnerabilities we encountered served as a mere combustion to strengthen our will and increase our self-awareness and sense of who we are. And this roller coaster ride was definitely an intense one. But it was a smoother ride, thanks to the special people close to us. Some of our loved ones stayed behind to take care of our fortress. Others joined us in this journey with the altruistic acceptance of being the supporting character in this one-year chapter of our lives. Mothers and fathers, husbands, wives, and partners, daughters and sons, and all the loved ones that cheered for us in our times of glory, comforted us in our moments of defeat, and were just a whisper away in any time of need. Thank you to all of you for being our backbones and giving us the support that allowed us to reach the goals we aim for. Now, this year's chapter is coming to an end, and it's time to start writing the next words, the amazing books of our lives. And this is where we go to the same suspense we felt 1 year ago. But this time around, we have two contrasting feelings. On one side, we have the confidence of being ready to tackle the moments to come and all their intricacies. On the other side, we have the doubt of not knowing exactly what to expect. And this hesitation, it roots from the impression that we live this year at INSEAD inside a bubble where everyone's cheering for the success of their neighbors, a bubble where people from different genders, nationalities, cultures, and religions are not only able to live together, but also grow based on the learning of their differences. Ladies and gentlemen, our community is far from being a bubble. Our community is the biggest and best incubator of different minds and behaviors, all working towards one goal: the success of each and every one of us in a peaceful and united society. And when we start our next chapters outside of INSEAD, the world will tell us we cannot live in harmony because our differences are too big. The world will tell us that there's a social order impossible to breach because it is too hard to reconcile diverse beliefs. The reality is, the world is simply made up of individuals like you and me. And this year has proven to us that these paradigms are meant to be broken. They have to be broken. Our duty is not to make our INSEAD experience seem like a bubble, but to bring to the rest of the world the reality that we have created here. And what better opportunity to do this than with each and every one of us sitting here today, leaders that will be scattered all over the world with the wisdom, resources, and skills to make our so-called INSEAD bubble into the new paradigm. So I leave you here today with the final message. Treat your life from this day forward the same way you treated it during your time at INSEAD. Give it the intensity needed to break barriers. Give it the love desired to mend broken pieces. And give it the wisdom required to lead people in the right direction and humbleness to listen and to be heard. And as Rudyard Kipling recited, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. INSEAD MBA class of December 2015, today, the world is yours to conquer. Thank you.